All right, so hello everybody, and welcome to Celestial Center. Today we have with us the amazing Carla Sparks, and
Yeah.
and so if you want, you can introduce yourself.
Hey, you guys, I'm Carla, and it's good to be here with all of you today. And I look forward to whatever we end up talking about.
So told us that you are a medium. So would you like to tell us like for how long and like when you got this ability?
Oh, it's not been very long at all. I did not start uh, being able to read people probably just within the year. My father passed away a little over a year ago, and I have researched and studied, and it's just started coming to me like a reawakening, if you will.
hmm So are like a lot of people see the spirits differently from like different accounts and different mediums. So how do you see the spirits?
Well, my whole life I've had a intuition or knowing of things, if you will. Um, but like I said, as when he passed away, I just dove into it more, and as I learned and researched and studied and learned more, gradually my clairs started opening. So I think that, I don't know, it's just been it's a learning process always. You know, I don't know. How about you, Nick?
Well, for me, when I see spirits, I usually don't see them like head on unless they really need to like show something.
Hmm.
Um, but usually I'll see them like out of the corner of my eye because I have so much my room protected so much that
Hmm.
a lot of the spirits can't enter, so I'll just see them going around in the hallway and stuff. But the spirits I've been seeing a lot more recently are the angels. Like I've been talking to the angels a lot more recently.
Yeah, that's good. When I first started out, I remember my first spirit that I was able to connect with, and I've spoken to his wife, and she does not mind that I talk about this. His name was Ray, and she lost him. He developed cancer, and at first, I used to meditate and try to, before I could even read anybody, I would meditate and try to clear my mind. That was so hard for me. Um, but once you learn how to do so, you can really just, I would start out with guided meditations. I hate to go into meditations, but I got to tell you how the way I did it. Um, everybody tells you when you're trying to develop and learn how to connect with spirit to meditate and clear your mind. And it's very hard for some people. It was very hard for me. I'm a Gemini, and so Gemini traits are just like da 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 da, racy racy. And it's hard to clear your mind. But once you learn to, everybody has a different way of meditating. You need to find a special spot, special place, and always go to that place when you're meditating, to where you feel like everything is just peaceful. You can totally clear your mind. For me, that place is a waterfall with a pond in the woods, and there's like a rock bed, and I lay down on that bed, and as I'm breathing, I open every chakra up so I can see the red, orange, the yellow, the green, the purple, blue, indigo, and then I totally surround myself in the light. But as I'm meditating, above me is myself in a light body. And once I open all my chakras up, I just pull my light body down into me, and it's just like total protection, you know? And then once I do that, Used to, I would meditate an hour at the time, but once I do that, I've narrowed it down to like 15 minutes. I'm totally protected, everything's open, and I'm ready to receive spirit, you know? So you just have to find your special spot, something, any place you feel that is your safety zone, you know? And that was mine. And once that happened, I was able to connect with spirit, and I connected with this guy named Ray, and he had passed away due to cancer, and it was just amazing. I cannot even describe how I felt when he came to me. And I was able to give his wife all stuff that nobody would know but she and him. And I was just beside myself. I was excited, scared, you know. And ever since then, doors have started opening for me. My abilities have grown, and I don't know. What have you experienced anything like that, or?
Well, for me, I haven't done like readings with spirits for people, but
Okay.
I have connected with the angels for people, and they don't really say anything to me, but like they'll show me images, and
Mhm.
so like if I ask them the name, they'll tell me that, but that's pretty much it. After that, it's just like images of what they want to show me. So it's like how about 2 weeks ago, my mom had her friend over to do a reading because I have like the tarot cards, so I do like tarot readings and stuff. And at the end of the reading, I told her I can connect to the angels for you, and so she said, "Why not?" So
Right.
I had pulled a lot of cards with Archangel Haniel for her, and so I felt like she was very connected to that particular archangel. So I connected to Archangel Haniel, and so I saw this woman with like brown wavy hair, and I said, "Who are you?" And so I heard Haniel, and so that's like all I heard. And then she just started showing me images like the moon and all this stuff. And so then afterwards I looked up all of the stuff that she had shown me, and so it turned out her symbol was the moon, and everything that she had shown me like checked out as true. So that's kind of like
Unreal.
what happens for me.
That is so amazing to me. Hang on, let me grab let's see if I can find it. I don't know. I'll show you some books that I have. I do what is called automatic writing. So that's I find I best connect when you shut your eyes, and I have notebooks. I have several so far. This is what I've done just in the past 6 months. 4 full notebooks right here. And I have a new one over there on the way. But I do like automated writing, and I have to show you some of my pictures talking about archangels and spirit guides. I'm not a great artist, but I just get these things that come to my mind. This is I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a butterfly. I think that was just like a sign one day. But talking about the archangels and meeting your spirit guides, let me see if I can find another one I did, and it just came out of the blue. Let's see. Oh, I got this one day. It's crazy. I mean, just out of the blue. And I'm not an artist or anything. But I was meditating, and I was just like brought to draw this. If I can find it. I should have probably had it ready. But I don't know where she went. Must be on a different one. But talking about the angels, when I first got into all of this, I was really desperately trying to connect with my dad. I'm looking as we talk, so must not be in that one. Hang on. don't know where I drew her. I had just had a connection. Let's see. Hold on one second. Sorry. If you want to talk while I'm looking, I don't know.
So, I know a lot of people see the spirits differently and like hear and receive the messages differently. So,
Yeah.
so when they talk, so when they give you their messages, do they talk or do they just show you images like they do me?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, first of all, my mother is a very big skeptic. And I know a lot of us have problems with our families and coming out to them. So let me say this real quick. My mother, she knows how I feel and what I'm doing right now. She's a huge skeptic, but a believer, I say, you know. And she came to my house and she drew this. Let's see if I can you see this?
That is identical to a picture I have in a book of mine.
My mama drew it.
Mhm.
That's an angel. It's unreal. But yeah, I don't know where my pictures were I was trying to show you, but I do automatic writing. So talking about how spirit comes to me. When it first started for me, I had to shut my eyes and I had to see a picture of, if someone wanted a reading from me, I would have to have a picture of their deceased loved one, or if they were living and they wanted a reading, just a picture. And I could look at that picture and I would just kind of meditate myself for a minute, and I would have it come to me, spirit would come to me in my mind. So I could see spirit in my mind, I could hear spirit in my mind. And that's how my abilities first started, in my mind. In my third eye, pineal gland, behind your eyes. I'd have angel contacts, Nick, like you're talking about, ringing in the ear, happens all the time. Kelly's talked about it. When that happens, they're close. But then as my abilities developed, I would have, instead of just hearing and seeing them in my mind, I would see them outside. And I say outside because I have, like you, a protective barrier built up. I have my whole property. I have 5 acres here, surrounded in the light. I'm surrounded in light, my family, my little chia pet. I don't know if you've seen pictures of her, but that's my little Shih Tzu. We're all covered completely all the time, but I have my whole property surrounded in the light. But at the back of my property, I have a tree line. And here lately, and this is just the past 2 weeks, I have been able to look out there and I soften my gaze and I'm just sitting out there looking. I spend a lot of time outside and I can just see spirits, especially when I'm doing a reading for somebody. I don't have to really look at the picture now. I can just look out and they just make formations and do things for me to tell me what I need to put.
Oh, we have Sandra with us now.
Sandra!
Trying to adjust my camera here.
I love you.
Love you too.
It's so good to see you.
Yeah. I saw the notice. I just logged into Facebook. I said, oh, I don't know. I'm trying to cook. I'll just run back and forth. And I just clicked on. So you're right.
Yes, we have to keep you with us. That's perfect. I was telling Nick about how things have opened up for me as far as being able to see and hear spirit. But yeah, basically the past couple of weeks it's opened up to where I can see out there and see spirits. I have actually just 3 days ago, my son was at his dad's house and I heard Mama in his voice out loud. And I heard this and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to call my son because I've never heard it outside, my head. Everything I would hear from spirit would be inside. And I called him and he was fine, so I'm really not sure what that was about. But that's the first time I've heard it. So all of my clairs are developed. Even the smell is coming in, but only has happened on two occasions. So that is not totally fully developed, but the others are definitely. So I hear inside my mind, I see inside my mind with spirit, but here lately I see just like a normal person, but they can be as big and tall as the trees, not just like regular height like all of us are, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does. I get audibles sometimes too. It's not all the time. They can be really random. Like one time,
Yeah.
one of my sons had left out of town. He didn't tell nobody, and I was like I was like in a lucid place, and I laid down, and all I heard was in his voice was, "I'm just letting you know I love you. You may not be able to see me anymore." So I started panicking and calling around, and found out that he had left town. So I get random things. I mean, one time I heard my other son laughing. It was like early in the morning, but I can hear him laughing in an audible tone, through outside my ears. And
Yeah.
I called him. I says, "Were you laughing this morning?" He says, "Yeah." I says, "Yeah, I know. I heard you." So, it just
Yeah.
happens sometimes. Yeah.
That's crazy. So the first time outside where I could actually hear outside of my head was just last weekend when I heard my son yell "Mama." It was crazy. But I called him to make sure he was okay because it scared me kind of,
Yeah.
when it's your baby. But he was fine.
Yeah. 'Cause
Uh,
we don't
I
know.
don't know what that was. It was really weird.
The same thing happened to my mother because my mother's psychic too, and like
Yeah.
our abilities run in my mom's side of the family. And so a few months ago, I was at school and stuff, and she was home, and she said she heard my voice yell like "mom," and she said she ran to our balcony and looked over to see if I was downstairs. 'Cause even though she knew I was at school, she didn't know why something would use my voice to call her.
Yeah. That's crazy. So I wonder what that was. And I wonder because I called my son immediately and he said, "No, I didn't. I wasn't yelling for you or anything." So I wonder why I heard that. So I'm not sure how to decipher that yet. That day, were you calling out for your mom, Nick?
I wasn't, but it could also be unconscious telepathic frequencies that we
Yeah,
could if we were thinking about that person unconsciously, we could be sending telepathic messages back and forth. So that could
Yeah.
be
that's
happening.
true.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's truly amazing, isn't it?
Hmm.
It's unreal when you think about it.
Yeah.
But it does happen. Everybody can do it. You just got to pay attention to how it goes, and you're there, pretty
So
much.
so Sandra,
Yeah.
so I was asking Carla how the spirits come to her. Would you care to explain how the spirits come to you?
Well, they come to me in different ways. Sometimes they'll come where I can visually see them, but a lot of times they'll come to me in dreams. And I astral travel a lot. I mean, every day I astral travel. So sometimes they'll come to me and meet me somewhere, like at an old place I used to live, or they'll meet me on familiar grounds. Some are unfamiliar grounds. But that's usually how they come to me is they'll just meet me out there in the astral plane, and there we go.
Yeah,
What about you, Carla? Do you astral project?
I have. I've had a lot of contact in my dreams, and when it first started, before I really learned to protect myself and all of that, I had two dreams I'll tell you about. The first one was I had a dream about my dad, and he came to us, and he was around me and my mother, and he was like sitting on a bench, and she was sitting beside of him. She was just so happy and glad that he was back and happy to see him, and this was not a good dream that I had. And all of a sudden, he just kind of tucked his head down and started speaking. It was almost robotically. And it was scary, and I was standing there. And I remember pointing my finger at him. I mean, it was like I was awake, but I was asleep, you know. And I remember pointing my finger at him and saying, the only thing that came to me, and I believe in God. I know everybody's got their own beliefs, but whatever, to each their own. We're all good with that. I remember pointing to him and saying, for God so loved the world. I was reciting John 3:16. And as soon as I said, for God, I woke up and he vanished. And I just felt like it was an evil entity coming to try to, you know, get near me or whatever because of something I wanted to happen. It was not a good experience. As soon as I said that, immediately I woke up. As soon as for God came out of my mouth, I woke up. And the dream was gone. I knew what was going on. I was awake. The second time, my grandfather passed away as soon as my son was born. And I've had 2 or 3 good dreams with him coming to visit me in them. But the very last one I had, I knew it wasn't right. It was like where he was with me and normal and everything, but then just kind of like how you see things in movies, it just kind of is fast-paced and unreal the way a human can move and all that. Well, I felt insecure about it. And I was awake in that dream enough to know that I called on Archangel Michael, and I literally could hear him coming down. I could hear his wings flapping, and I felt embraced by them. And as soon as that happened, I woke up. Now, that is what I've experienced, astral traveling. But I've had wonderful dreams with my dad coming to me. I mean, all kinds of good dreams, just like I'm sure you all have. But the only 2 bad ones I had was that, but I learned how better to protect myself, and it's not happened since. So that was about over a year ago when that happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was different. But I know when you call on the Creator or you call on the angels, you are protected, because I was totally protected.
And Sandra, I know you wanted to mention past lives, so if you want, you could do that.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of past life experiences when I'm out in my astral travels, and it's like they're always in the same house where I was. But the people are in different bodies, but I know their spirits, who they are. And so I was really questioning this. I started doing some research on past lives and stuff, and what I found out is that, and it makes so much sense, is, you know how sometimes you get deja vu? You know, it's like you'll be walking along, it's like, man, I feel like I've been here before. But you really have been there before. You've been there in a past life. It's like we come into this world and we choose this time segment to slip into to redo something in our life that we might maybe want to change. So this isn't the first time we've been in this time segment, like from the time you're born to, let's say we're in 2015 right now. This time segment is set like a stage. It's like when we leave our bodies and finally leave this earth, we can go to another time segment. We can go to the past, or we can go to the future and live a life there. But I noticed there's this repetitious thing going on. It's why sometimes people have these psychic abilities and psychic memories and things like that, is because we've already done it before. We're so sure when we get these things, and they come to pass. So we're actually living the same path but we're changing things as we go along. You know, kind of tweaking it up, doing it a little different, so we don't have to do it the same way as we did the last time we were here.
Yeah, it's
And
almost like we're put back to redo it again to make sure we get it right the next time, you know?
yeah, yeah, and it might not even be so much about it being a right or a wrong. It's more,
Yeah,
you know, maybe we hurt somebody the last time we were here, so we want to come back and we want to fix that this time. You know,
exactly.
yeah, we want to tweak something. So what I found out with the past lives thing is that we're actually coming into different time segments that we want to fix. So
Yeah.
we might have been in this time segment, like I was born in 1957, so I might have come in 1957 in another time, but I'm still here on that stage from that time to now. So
Right.
there's all these different parallels, and there's all these different stages, which is why we get this deja vu stuff going on. It's like, but I've never been here before. I don't know why. And you start thinking, well, if this was before I was born, why does it look like this? Why do I remember it this way?
Right.
It's
You're
because you were
exactly
already
right.
born.
I've had that deja vu a lot
Yeah.
too. It's unreal.
Yeah. So I've just been really researching that, and I'm really finding out stuff that just really makes a lot of sense. It's like we just come back into a slot, and this is where we're going to be. You know, and some people maybe haven't come into this slot before. This might be the first time they've come into this realm, because right now we have I call this age the most popular age that there probably is in the universe, because it's so big. Everybody's coming in here, you know.
Everybody is. It's unreal.
Mhm.
It's amazing. It is a time. It's just crazy. Everybody's opening up. It seems like.
Yeah. And even first timers who have never been in this time frame before, they're coming. So obviously something's getting ready to change, because we need help here. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of people coming in. We got to go help these people, because they've been doing this for a long time. We got to help fix this, you know.
Right. I totally believe that. I do. What do you think, Nick?
I think it's pretty interesting because we've got all that stuff going on now, like how Kelly wants to like stop the moon and stuff and all that, and she like how she's saying if we do that, it's going to trigger the awakening pretty much. And it's interesting because I've actually, and Sandra knows this, I have the ability, it's like an advanced form of empathy in a way, where I can project my emotions into a situation and feel what that situation feels like.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I projected my situation, I projected my emotions into the situation of the awakening one night, and I felt what the awakening would feel like. And I told Sandra, and it literally feels like pure euphoria.
Yeah. It's crazy. I felt like that as well. I think that there's a lot of people they're so skeptic, but everybody I did like a coming out this past week, if you will. You know that, Sandra.
Mhm.
And I had so many people reach out to me, not family, but friends that I
Mhm.
had no clue about that felt like they said, I would never admit it to anybody, but I feel the same way you do, and I would love to learn, and da da da. But, it's happening. It's
Mhm.
happening.
And that's actually really interesting too, because at my school, I live in Las Vegas right now, so my school is like a school of 3,000 kids, and I've actually been going around and finding psychic kids at my school and like talking to them and helping them, and they've been like thanking me so much because like they don't feel like
Yeah.
they're crazy anymore.
That's exactly right, because they're probably scared to talk to their family or friends about it. And, I finally got to the point where I was like, you know what? I do not care. I'm just going to be me. Because I know, number one, my mama's going to love me no matter what. And I'm me. And she is just, I hate to say this because she's probably going to end up watching this, but she has had the lights have been flickering the past few months and all that, and I've been trying to tell her, I'm like, that's Bill, that's my dad coming through. He's trying to let you know he's with him. She has called Duke Power. I don't know if I'm allowed to say. She's called the power company. She's had all these analysts out there trying to figure out. They said, ma'am, we cannot figure out what's wrong with your lights. We just don't know. I said, Mama, you need to quit wasting money and people's time because I told you what was wrong with the lights. Well, the last set of people are coming out this coming Tuesday to check the house and everything. And I'm like, really? I told you what was wrong with the lights. Nobody can find anything wrong with the lights. But I know what's wrong with the lights, and you guys do too. He's letting her know he's with them. You know, simple as that.
That's really interesting, though, because like not only can spirits manipulate electronics, but we can too. Like, cause
Oh, I know.
just like 2 days ago on that eclipse, I went to the dentist, and you know how the machines give off radiation?
Yes.
Yeah, well, they were putting all these X-rays on me and stuff, and
Me too.
I was
I
getting
did 2 days ago.
yeah, and like I was getting so scared because I know they give off radiation,
Yeah.
and so my abilities in a way are like kick in when I'm scared because it's like a defense mechanism where if I can't defend myself physically, I can like defend myself psychically.
Exactly.
And so what happened is that they put the vest on me so the radiation doesn't get into like my body. And so they put me in that thing where you stand and like you bite into the thing and then it spins around your head.
Oh, yeah.
And I was getting so scared to the point where I was starting to like shake. And so I was like just trying to breathe and calm myself down. And right as she presses the button, the machine stops working. Like it wouldn't even start up.
Love
And
it.
so she gets like scared and she goes, "Can you help me with this like to another dentist?" And then like the dentist looks and they try it and like it doesn't work. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, this just isn't working right now. We're gonna have to like we're gonna do this another time." And so like 5 minutes later, they take me to another room. And so the dental assistant is she has this thing. It's like it looks like a high-tech toothbrush with like a flashlight in it. And so she puts it in my mouth, and I look over at the computer screen, and so it turns out to be a camera. And so the second she presses the button to take the first photo, the screen on the computer just like freezes up. And I was still
I love
scared when that I was so scared when that happened. And so like my anxiety was still fueling my abilities. And so
Yeah.
she got like worried and she was like moving the mouse and she's trying to get it to unfreeze and she's like, "I don't get why this is frozen. It shouldn't be frozen." And then she finally has to like close it and like restart the program to like do it again. So
You should have said, you would have freaked her out, but you should have said, oh, that's just spirit protecting me. You really should have. She'd have been like, what? But I know, you remember back just a minute ago, I told you to have, when you go into meditation, to have your safe zone, find your spot. And just like when I go to the dentist, I got to go back Tuesday because I got to have some stuff done. But anyway, my spot is that water spot I was telling you about. And you find that spot and you go to it and you are fine. But it is so scary when they put all that mess on you, that heavy vest, and you're wondering, okay, what else is going to be wrong with me now after I have this done? It's crazy. But I love it. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know if something happens and my computer totally blacks out and you lose me, that's spirit coming in because every time I try to do something like this, you can ask Michael Ryder. My computer will black out, my phone will black out, and then it'll take me about 10 or 15 minutes to try to figure out how to get back on. So if you lose me, I'll be back. I asked him to be very good with me while I tried to do this today. So far, so good.
Sandra,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty interesting when you said that like we're changing things because I remember you told me how we can create things with our minds and like things don't just happen pretty much.
Right. They don't. Our thoughts create form. You know, you can even go back in the Bible, and it's funny because a lot of people didn't pick up on it. I didn't even pick up on it when I was in the church. It was like I was just a total airhead. It's like, oh, everything is just literal, you know. But you know, he even said, you know, what a man thinks in his heart, so is he. You know, what you can do greater things than I. Well, why did he say that? Well, he said it because we are constantly creating. He stayed in a state of creation. And he was trying to tell us we create. everything that we do, we're creating it. You know, and once I got that concept, I started thinking, wow. You know, and I think about, you know, I'd be going through a hard time where I really needed some money, and I don't want to ask nobody for no money. And, you know, it might have took a couple of weeks for it to get here, but I never said nothing to nobody. I just said, you know, God, it's in your hands. I don't know how it's going to come, but I was literally looking on the ground. You know, maybe I'll find it on the ground. And all of a sudden I got, you know, some mail, and someone had it had been put on their mind to bless me with some money, you know, and it came, and I really needed it. And it's like, well, I really don't have to have people to help me out. I just have to ask, you know, and visualize it, and it'll come, you know. And there's been different kinds of things, you know. It's like even with my son, that's going through his battle right now. You know, I had asked that he had put a wall up for a while. And I was asking that, you know, I need this wall to come down, you know, because it's driving me crazy. I can't communicate with them. Nobody's able to communicate with them. You know, what's going on? I need help. And so I started calling on my ancestors to help me. So one night I went down and I went to sleep, and I got into my astral state. And all of a sudden, all my ancient ancestors of Indian descent came. And they were all in their Indian feathers and all this. And they came to me. And they said, we're going to perform a wall-breaking ceremony. So I said, oh, wonderful, you know. And I watched them perform this ceremony. And when they finished, they looked at me and they said, very soon. And they all walked away. And next thing you know, it wasn't 2 days later, and I was getting a phone call from my son. You know, so there's just all these things. You ask for things and you can visualize them and see them. They're coming. They're coming. Whether it be
They
negative.
are coming. I promise you that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Whether negative or
It's going to
positive.
be good to go.
Yeah.
So Carla, do you have any
Yes, sir.
do you have any manifestation stories?
I got a lot of the manifestation stories. Are you talking about just seeing things or manifesting things? As far as manifesting, I always wake up every morning and I set my intent. I thank God for all of my surroundings, and I put it out to the universe. If I'm feeling bad, I put it out to the universe to please let me have a good day and help me to feel better, and I just let it out there, and I know that it will be. And it normally really is. And I try to do, it's like you always hear, like is like. If you put out the good's going to come back to you. If you put out the bad, it's going to come back. If you wake up in a good, positive mood, you're going to have a good day. If you wake up in a bad, pissy mood, your day's going to suck, pretty much. I mean, it really is like that. Whatever energy you got and put out, that's what you're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is a type of, I hate to say karma, but I mean, it's all what you put into it. If you wake up happy, and even if you don't wake up happy and you say, well, I'm going to have a great day, and you really feel it and know it, you are going to have a good day. It's really up to all of us. And that's the most simplest thing that people don't understand. You can turn your whole life around if you just truly believe. I mean, and when I say believe, you got to believe that you're going to be good, everything's going to be good, and you know it. Put it out there and let it go. Because if you say you know it and you put it out there and you don't let it go, it will not be. That's what I've learned. You just have to know it, and everything will be okay. Positivity brings positivity. Love and light. You give love and light, you're going to get it. I promise.
That's true. I guess the hardest thing for people, I think, in their belief and believing that they're creating is that we see with these two eyes, you know, and when we see with these two eyes, like I can feel sick, or I can cut myself or cut my leg, and it's like, oh, this thing's not going to heal because, you know, I'm constantly looking at it because the two eyes are seeing, but something inside of you is knowing something else. And that's kind of where we have, Yeah, that we got to get to that place of not just saying what we see with our two eyes, because always what we see with our two eyes isn't what's really going on. It's just a projection.
That's exactly right.
Hmm.
What do you think, Nick?
Well, I like how she used the word projection because like this reality pretty much is kind of a projection in a way because a lot of people now as like things start to change are seeing how reality is glitching literally like things will just like stop like how a disc will like stop when it skips and it'll just like keep going but like in our reality right now there's a lot of glitches happening because we are sabotaging it in a way like we're
Yes.
destroying it but in a good way we're destroying it in a good way.
Mhm. I totally believe that.
I mean, that's
But
why the world is in the state that it's in, because people are so caught up in the illusion or having been in the play so long that they think the play is real, and it's not. And it's really kind of strange because people say, well, we vote certain people in, but they're both of the same bird. They just have different sides of wings, but they're both of the same bird. So let's say they vote people in, and then they start getting mad. Oh, they're doing this wrong. They're doing it wrong, and it's not that they're doing it wrong. You can't just point the finger at them. You help them get there.
Right.
It,
Everybody has their own way of doing things. That's exactly right.
yeah. So we have to start looking at ourselves. That's the big key right there. And to get people to look at themselves is not an easy task, to say the
Right.
least. You know.
It's
and I know that our society is run by like a lot of entities that are working behind the scenes. And that
Hmm.
actually leads into the next topic that I know Carla wanted to talk about, which is multidimensional beings. So, have you guys like seen any multidimensional beings lately?
um well, mine would be angels. That's what I've seen. Now I have seen some I don't know what you would call it. I've seen signs and symbols come up. I have seen especially in the morning waking up, I've seen things across my ceiling and all of that that look like a spider and stuff like that. But the most multi-dimensional beings I have seen, I would definitely say was angels. And I have spirits come to me in forms of birds, major big time. Um, One of my animal spirit guides is a red-tailed hawk, and Sandra, I've talked to you about
Yeah.
this. Daily I have one out here, and I have him do a flyby almost every day. But also when I meditate, I will like see him. I will like have my eyes shut, and I will see like through his eyes, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
It's really a big connection. Uh, As far as anything else, I've not experienced anything else multidimensional. Like I told you, I heard the angel wings coming down in my dream, and seen the angels and spirits. But as far as anything other than that, I don't think I have anything. How about you, Sandra?
No, mostly my multi-dimensional things, like I say, it comes in astral travel. Because I'm
Yeah.
always skipping planes, and so those are multi-dimensions that I'm going into. But here it's like with you, it's like with the birds. It's like a couple summers ago, it was after my dad had passed away. It was like I wanted to see him so bad. I said, God, just give me a sign. I actually wanted him to come as an eagle. And I was looking
Yeah.
at the back window, and I was saying, oh yeah, just come as an eagle. And I was visualizing it, this eagle sitting up on this wall that's out back. And so that night we had a storm, and the next day, all of a sudden, this big old, I mean, it was huge. It was a red-tailed hawk, though. And
I love it.
he sat outside my window so I could see him and look at him every day for 3 days. and I knew that was my dad coming, in that way. And because I mean, he could have picked any window, any apartment to sit across from, but no, he sat across from mine, perched up on the balcony right outside my window so I could see.
That was meant for you, for sure.
Yeah.
That was meant for you.
Yes.
I've had like I have had, and I've drawn them. That's what I was trying to show you a while ago. I've seen my spirit guide, so I think that that would be considered multidimensional. Um, I've seen a couple of them. I've got a couple of pictures drawn of them, and I'd love to show them to you. I wish I could find them. I may have to take a 2-minute break and let you and Sandra talk for a second and see if I can find them real quick.
Let me go
But
stir my beans real quick. I'll be
so
right back.
yeah, you go, Sandra. I'll hang out here with you, Nick. What other questions, Nick, might you have?
Like, have you ever had any contact with like extraterrestrials? Because I know that's a big thing that a lot of people wonder about people like us, is if we like talk to them frequently.
When you say extraterrestrials, I guess I have a different viewing of that than some people, because some people may think aliens or the gray men and stuff like that. But really, the only contact I have had would be of the light, I guess. I don't know, angel type contact. I've never had anything scary besides the 2 dreams I told you about, and the only thing I've ever had in dreams would be, or like during meditation, would be guides and angel contact. But people would consider that extra because it's not of this plane or dimension, would consider that extraterrestrial. What about you?
Well, for me, I haven't had any like ETs come to me, but
Yeah, me
I
either.
I have like I've said, talked with the angels. Like I talk with them frequently now, and I've also met an ascended master, which was Mother Teresa. I met her about like a month ago, so it was pretty interesting.
This is unreal, Nick. Let me tell you something. And a lot of people talking about angels, and I was going to do a blog and a video on about, do you believe in angels? But it's ironic that you said that, because when my father passed, 24 hours before he died, he just got so happy and talkative and was not, like, he had been in ICU that whole week before. But the day before he passed, they had moved him to a regular room, and we all thought he was getting better. And he started seeing angels. And I was 5 hours away. I had gone home for Christmas, and he had fallen a couple of times and had to go to the hospital. They put him in ICU, but my mother was up for back surgery 2 weeks later. So I was like, well, if he's going to be okay, because they had moved him from ICU to a regular room, I need to wait a few more days before I come, because I'm going to have to be there for both of you. And so I didn't go. And so the day before he passed away, my mama called me and she said, "You are not going to believe this." And I said, "What?" And she said, "He is seeing angels." And I said, "I want to talk to him." So he was able to talk on the phone, and she gave him the phone, and he got on the phone, and he said, "Hey, Tootsie." And that's my nickname, is Tootsie. And I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he said, "You will not believe what is going on today." And I said, "Well, tell me about it." And he said, "You know how in a hospital room, there's your hospital bed, and then they'll have like a chair and maybe a little couch or a built-in seat in the window or whatever." Well, he pointed toward the chair, and he said that Mother Teresa was sitting there. And I said, "She is." And I said, "What is she doing?" He said, "She's just sitting there smiling at me." And he said, "You will not believe the 2 little baby angels that came to see me." He said it was a boy and a girl, and they were about 5 years old, and they had on a gold vest and navy blue pants. and they were little angels just walking around. And I said, well, what are they doing? And he said, they're just smiling and laughing, running around the room. And he told me, I said, well, have you seen Baba? And that was my grandma and his mother. And he said that he had seen her and she'd come to see him. I said, well, what did she have to say to you? And he said, she told me she loved me. And then he had a Chihuahua that grew up with us our whole life. Puddin was 13 years old and died, and my dad passed the next year. And he said, when I was talking to him on the phone, he said, Puddin's at the foot of the bed. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. And he was just in the best mood and the best spirits. And I knew then, and I wished I had acted on it, but I knew that he was going to pass away. But I thought he was getting better. If I knew what I knew now then, I would have been there. Because 12 hours later, my mama called me and said I needed to come on because he was going to pass. And I didn't get there in time. But I know now that that's what was happening, and I know that the angels were with him, and that his last time here, he was totally at peace. So nobody can tell me that it isn't for real, because I know, and 100% within my heart it is. And I know it's okay that I didn't make it, because I've connected with him 100 times since then, so I'm good. So don't feel bad for me. I'm an empath, and I'm going to jerk a tear in a minute, y'all.
That's me
But anyway,
too.
that's what my story's about.
I'm like that.
Sorry.
Crying all the time. Crying top of my head. Memory, woo, I start crying.
Yeah, but nobody can tell me that it's not for real, because I totally believe in it. I know it's true, and, you know, try me out and test me. I'll try to help you out. That's all I know to say. That's how it's happened for me, Nick. And I wished I would have reawakened when I was your age, because I know I could have done so much more. 43 now. I'm not old, but I'm not young like you are, Nick. But I still got a life to live, so I'm going to let the love and light shine. I can promise you that.
That's actually really interesting, because when Mother Teresa came to me, she didn't say anything either. She just had her hands like this, like looking down at me, and I was remote viewing myself, because I was channeling information from my mother. And so what happened is that I was putting a shield of light around myself, so that way I could only channel like good things. And so then, as I put the shield around myself, I like pretty much started remote viewing myself, and I saw Mother Teresa over by my mom's jewelry box, and she just had her hands like this, wearing her white and blue outfit, and she was just like looking down at me. And I didn't see her face, but I knew it was her. And so then I like, right as I saw her, I pulsed out light, and the light opened around her, and then it like, after it got past her, it closed again and just kept going.
Beautiful. That's amazing. And I bet you just had like these chills come over you. I don't know about you, but when something like that happens to me, I just get just these chills, and I know. Mm-hmm. You just know 100% without a question. Yeah. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Have you met any like ascended masters or anything like that, Sandra?
No, I can't really say that I've met any ascended masters. The only thing I do is I go and I travel, and I go a lot, because it's like this world is kind of crazy to me. So it's like every opportunity I get to sleep, I get excited, because I know I'm taking off and going somewhere. But I haven't met any ascended masters that I can recall anyway. Maybe I have, but I haven't that I can recall when I've been out.
It's awesome, because I know a lot of people haven't gone through what you've gone through, so to hear how you like pretty much take advantage of what you've been given is awesome, because I know like a lot of people haven't like had near-death experiences or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's difficult. I find it hard to explain to people too sometimes because, you know, unless you've been there and done it, and I wouldn't advise anybody to just try to do it on their own, but unless you've been there, it's kind of hard to explain. Even I'll even say with my own family, you know, I can tell them what I went through, but they can't grasp what I went through. You know,
Hmm.
it seems weird that they wouldn't understand, but then I have to understand too that what didn't happen to them. It happened to them differently. They got to watch, but they didn't know what was going on when I was out. So of course they can't grasp it. But even now, you know, I'll tell them I heal myself, you know, because I know I can change my DNA. I've been keeping my body going since 2002 in the area of healing. And I'll try to, oh, you don't know. It's like, okay, I don't know. I'll just keep it to myself then, you know. I cannot do
Exactly.
it. So it gets frustrating, you know. It really gets frustrating, especially when you got people that know they were there, but they don't know. They know, but they don't know. So kind of strange.
It does. It gets so frustrating sometimes with people because you know and you know they want to believe, and then they're just like, nah, no, 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 no.
All I can do is
So what
laugh.
do you do, Nick? What do you do?
I know. And like a lot of my family is skeptical, so I have to kind of like keep it to myself. But my parents know, even though my dad is a little skeptical of it.
Yeah,
Right.
let me tell you, I have kept this to myself for so long, and I opened up to my husband and my son. I have a 13-year-old baby, and um, and my mother. I've told a little bit where she's given me the hardest time with it, but she's opening up to it. But none of my other family or friends, and I really opened up to everybody this past week, and everybody's been pretty good about it, except for I've not had any negative complaints from it, but I've had lots of comments from my friends, my non-spiritual friends on Facebook, but no family. No family has commented either way, which is fine with me, but I put it out there to them on my personal Facebook page and gave them the opportunity to ask me questions or anything. But you know, now I'm glad I did because I know that they're aware. And if they choose to look into something such as this video, they're welcome to. And they know because I'm posting it not only on my page but my other page, and I just open myself up because I'm ready to just be me. And that's what we all have to do because we all only have this one time here right now. We'll be here another time, but while you're here, especially when you realize it, be yourself. Be you because nobody else is going to be you. And don't let anybody else be you. You know? Be strong. Right?
Mm-hmm. So, what would you say to any skeptics that are trying to like come into this kind of belief because they've been experiencing things and they're just now like looking into it? What would you like say to them, even though like if they're having trouble believing?
Um, I'd love to let them come and talk to all of us. They're skeptic like that. I think everybody that is skeptic is, I think there's a little piece in everybody that believes. And they may not want it to admit it unless their surrounding people admitted it with them. But I think they believe there's a little piece in everybody that does. And nobody can tell me any different. I really think they do. Or they wouldn't be giving us such a hard time. If if there's anybody out there that really is so super skeptic or whatever, they're welcome to call me. I'll try to read them real quick, and then we'll put them on the right path.
What about you, Sandra?
Yeah, the skeptics. I mean, some people come to me sometimes, and they say, well, I'm going through this or I'm going through that, how would you handle that? And I'll tell them how I handle things, if they got something, because, the crazy thing is, which is a good thing too, but I was raised around all this from the time I was a child, with my mom
Hmm.
and my dad. They're more accepting of me than my kids are. And that's crazy to say, but I was brought up around this. They were always into the supernatural, doing fiddling with some supernatural this or some supernatural that, going to palm readers, having their little
Well, you're lucky.
seances and mediums. So I mean, my immediate family is like super open. You know, it's my kids that are just kind of like, I don't know about that. You're kind of weird, Ma. But I try to encourage people. When they say, well, this is happening and that's happening. And they're fearful. That's the main thing is they're fearful. And so I try to help them not to be so afraid. It's like there's nothing to be afraid of. It's just you. You're opening up. You're starting to open up. So, don't be afraid of that because
Hmm.
nothing can hurt you unless you believe it can hurt you. And that's where belief comes in too, because as you believe that something is going to hurt you, well, then you open the door and says, yeah, you can hurt me, so it can't hurt you unless you believe it can. And
That's
that's,
exactly right.
yeah. So I just try to encourage them, and just if you believe it can hurt you, it will. Then read about it some more, or look into it a different way so you can overcome that fear. Because you don't want to open something up and you're afraid, because your
Mm-mm.
subconscious is going to bring that fear, make that fear get even bigger. So I always tell people
And
just research it.
That's
yeah,
very. I'm sorry.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm Southern girl. I like to jump in all the time.
Jump in.
Um, I was gonna say one thing real quick. If you've got somebody that needs to believe and have faith in something, if they're going through something such as a medical condition, whatever, you tell them that they need to believe with all their might and just put it out there and know that it will be okay. And it's going to be okay. But when I say no, it's going to be okay, know that it is going to be okay. And it will be. They got to fully feel it 100% and know it. That's all I wanted to say about that.
But what you said about fear, feeling fear, pretty much is actually very true because, like how I told Carla, I was born with my abilities, and so I grew up with it. And I used to be so scared of what I could do as a little kid because, as a little kid, when I would look out the window at the trees, the wind would start gusting like really fast. Eventually I got scared to look out the window because I knew that I subconsciously knew that I was causing it. And so after we got back from Lourdes and my awakening like triggered and stuff, and I found Kelly and all that, um, I like my abilities resurfaced, and the first thing that happened was like I started a fire in a church with my mind and stuff, and I just started getting so scared. And I remember eventually the fear turned into like a type of anger for me because I was scared that I was angry. And so what happened is that eventually things would just start happening. Like I would just start causing bad things to happen to people, and I would get so mad at myself. And like I remember this one time that we were having a pep rally at school, and I just was in this dark place, and I I caused this cheerleader to telekinetically fall over, and I still feel like horrible about it when I look back on it. And thankfully, Keisha, like some of you know her, she helped pull me out of that dark place because I did all those things honestly because I did this thing where I turned off my empathy pretty much, and I turned off my emotions, and I didn't feel literally anything. So I didn't care who I hurt or what I did, and so that's pretty much what happened. And so I met Ray Keisha, and she helped me like turn my emotions back on, and she helped me just come out of that dark place. So
And look how you've blossomed. You have come full circle.
thank
You
you,
have a huge heart. I can see your heart. I can see your smile, and you have light all around you.
thank you. Hey
You
Lisa,
do. You've come a long ways, Nick.
thank you. Lisa's here.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. How are you guys? Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. What are we talking about?
We're just talking about like seeing spirits and multidimensional beings and like past lives and all that.
I'm
Oh
gonna
my
take. I
gosh.
gotta take a second, you guys. I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So
Well,
do you have any stories to share with us about that?
I actually have an amazing story to share. On March 19th, that was my first fully third dimensional conscious ET experience. And I've got some pictures. I just loaded several pictures of when they arrived and there just because of the way that I felt. And then we communicated telepathically, which was pretty amazing. So if you guys get a chance, go to my Facebook page. You'll see where the orbs are kind of coming at me. And if you save the picture to your computer so that you can look at it in a bigger format, you'll be able to see, you'll actually be able to see the outlines of some of the beings there. So, and that's been happening since the 19th of March, which is exciting and exhilarating and a little bit unsure too, you know.
Oh.
Do you know
There.
do you know which like ET race they were?
Yes, I do. Arcturians.
Oh wow.
Arcturian beings. They're quite amazing little creatures. They really are. They're really amazing. Their energy makes you just feel so good. You just want to bask in their energy, almost like a perfect breezy day and the sun shining just perfectly, except for, times a million. So, it's good stuff. It is. It's good stuff. So.
Something just moved like from your shoulder.
Something just moved from my shoulder.
Yeah, like something just keeps going like back and forth on your shoulder.
Oh, yeah?
Do you see it?
No.
Huh. It's like on
Well,
it would be your left shoulder.
all right, let me look at it bigger, see if I can see it.
It's like it's white, so we know it's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
It's going back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's either a loved one or an angel. I can't tell. Do you get anything, Sandra?
No, but I saw what you saw. It was going back and forth.
I can't tell if it's like either a loved one or an angel.
It seems to me like it's someone that's with her a lot, though.
Mhm.
It's like not. It's not a new thing. It's something that's with her a lot.
Yeah.
Could be my grandmother. My grandmother's with me quite often. She was apparently quite intuitive, and they lived in Boston, Massachusetts, and it wasn't anything that she felt comfortable sharing with anyone until I started on my own path, and she's been with me quite a bit since then. So that might be what you're seeing or feeling. But I can see right over my left shoulder. If you look, well, my left shoulder, so if you guys are looking on my right, you can actually see a face there. Can you see it?
I see right there.
So yeah, so cool. I do that a lot. Like when we do these hangouts, I always look to see what's around you guys, and it's awesome because there's always something around everybody, you know.
Do you see something around me?
Let me look. You have somebody right above is that a door or a window on your back left-hand side? Oh, he's moved down a little bit. It feels like a male energy. I can see his eyes. He's watching you on that side of you. That's what I see there. Let me see what else we got here. Oh my goodness! And you got a little something literally peeking right up over your right shoulder. I can see its eyes coming in and out. Look at the chair in the background, Nick and Sandra, and pay attention about halfway, almost in the center, and then like right to the one. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. It's literally just like, okay, so I can't tell whether it's a child. It may actually even be a pet. Might actually even be a pet. A little shy. Could be both, is that what you said?
Well, this is Chia, my dog, and she sometimes say, "Hey, Chia."
Hi, Chia.
She sometimes, especially when I meditate or I'm doing a reading and I call on people, she will like act different or bark. She doesn't really growl, she'll just bark. And so I know that, you know, I ask the angels and my spirit guides to only let the good, the love and light in, and to keep evil off the whole premises. So we're pretty good protected. So I know whatever's here is good.
It's definitely good. Absolutely. You've got wow. And look at guys. I don't know if you guys are able to see. Sandra, Nick, are you guys able to see spirit?
I can sometimes, but I usually connect with the angels a lot more.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's definitely not a bad thing. And I can see both. But look right on her cabinet as well, just to, as we're looking at her, to the right of her, of what's our right shoulder.
So on her left?
So on her left, yep. And beneath the molding, on the inside of the molding of the cabinet.
Is that like a little white thing? I just saw like a,
you see it?
like right above the candle.
You know, before this started, I asked my angels and my guides to be with me. You may see some of them. Who knows?
Yep. Yeah, I definitely see them. All right, let me see.
When I ask them to be with me, I get the chills, so I know they're here.
Well, they're definitely there. I want to see what's around Nick and Sandra too. Let's see. Oh gosh, Nick, you got some beautiful, vibrant light just all over. Lots of light. Did you just meditate?
No, I haven't meditated in a while.
Wow. Good stuff. All right, let's see if we see anything.
Let's look at Sandra.
Let's see Sandra.
I think you have pink around you.
Boom, right away. Right to the right of her. Right away, just showed up, right, whoever that is. She wants you to know she's there. She just popped right up there.
I got grandmother.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
very bold personality.
Mhm. She's around a lot. She's
Is
around.
she?
Yeah. Mhm.
Awesome.
And I see sunglasses. I see sunglasses, and I see a long earrings.
Hmm.
I feel like she was very like extravagant. Like she had short hair, but she was very extravagant.
Was there like a not a like a Weimaraner or a lab type dog? Let me see. Do you know what a Weimaraner is? It's a grayish colored dog.
I'm trying to
Sandra?
think. Um, it's possible. I don't really
No,
remember.
don't search for it. If you it'll come to you if you know.
Did
No,
she
that
like
was
did she like flowers?
Yeah.
Like I like tasted something sweet, almost like a flower. Like I don't know if she liked a certain flower, like lilac. That's what I got was lilac.
Uh-huh. She
Did
liked
she
flowers. She had a garden. So,
did she have curly hair? I keep getting curls.
um, wavy.
Yeah, because I kept getting like it was like like very short, like curly hair.
Hmm. There might be an aunt. I have so many over there. I have like oodles and oodles over there.
I just felt like something push on the back of my head, so I don't know who that is.
Uh-oh.
maybe it's somebody going, Doop, nope, that wasn't it. I don't know. That's what I felt like when I said that. Stand for somebody else.
I usually do feel that kind of feeling though when there's spirits around, like where you feel like you're getting pushed.
Mhm.
Yeah, I get bad and I get really cold sometimes, but then sometimes like I'll have just like a ringing in the ear, but mostly chills or just a knowing. And I don't know, it's like sometimes, especially if I'm looking at a picture, something new that's happened to me. Like used to, I would try to read somebody from a picture, but now, like say your picture, Nick, with your shirt on and everything, I did this one reading for a lady where I actually saw a key in her shirt and a diamond ring, and I was seeing everything that I saw, and every bit of it related to her husband's passing. It was unreal. Um, it's just amazing to me, all the signs and symbols you can get. What about you ladies?
I usually pick up on like when spirits are around. Sometimes I'll get nudges. Sometimes the temperature will change, and a lot of times with me, I get more of a knowing, and I can pick up on the spirit's emotion. It's like the emotion will just poof right through me, and I
That's me
know.
too. Yeah, I get that same thing. And I get more from my guides and angels, I think, than spirit. But I will, you know how somebody takes a pencil or a pen and plays with like the top of your hair, but doesn't necessarily touch your scalp, and that tickle
Oh
feeling
my
that you get?
gosh, I get
Yeah.
that all the time when I'm talking to like when I'm connecting with spirits and angels.
Yes, yes, and it just goes through my whole head, and then my body typically will like chill. Um, when I'm dealing with spirit, past loved ones, like Sandra was saying, I'll recognize a temperature change on one part of my body where they may be standing close to me.
Yes.
Yeah, um, and the emotion. The emotion is the thing that's been kicking my butt lately because it didn't used to be so intense. But the let's see, the more developed I'm becoming, the more intense that emotion becomes. And sometimes I'll break out in tears because my heart will just be crushed, you know? Well,
I did want to tell a little bit of people before whatever we end up doing, I don't want to end without talking about this, was to those of you that are trying to develop or that are trying to connect with someone you have lost, the only thing I can tell you, I want to be able to tell you the most simplest way to connect, because it is so hard sometimes when you're first beginning and you're listening and learning and trying to figure out what to do. First time you ever hear about chakras or clairs or anything. When you first dive into all of this, I know everybody says meditate, and you do need to meditate. Number one, you have got to clear your mind. And you have got to, and I'm going to make this the most simplest way that I can. You've got to try to clear your mind and just totally go to an empty space in your mind and in your heart. And if you don't imagine anything, just imagine a bright light. That's all you have to imagine at first. And you find that spot within you and use your imagination and just totally relax yourself. And if you are going to try to connect with someone or read with someone, you have got to take, with your eyes shut and with your imagination going, your mind is blank, the most simplest thought that comes to you is spirit. The easiest way I know to describe it is the very most simplest thought that you have, that is spirit coming to you. And you may think, oh my God, it cannot be that easy. It cannot be that easy to connect with spirit, but let me tell you,
I'm
it
on
is.
live.
Everybody tries to make it difficult and hard, or those you try to learn from try to make it like, oh, you got to be trained and you got to have a certificate for this or whatever. Let me tell you something. You don't. We have all got this gift, and it is so easy when you learn to totally clear your mind. Easy step, clear your mind, blank it out, shut your eyes, and imagine being at a park at night on July the 4th and seeing the fireworks. Imagine just anything that is peaceful to you. And if you're trying to connect with someone that you have lost, or if you're trying to connect with someone that someone wants you to try to connect with, the very first thought that comes to your mind, any thought, is spirit. And when you second guess yourself and you say, oh my gosh, that cannot be it. If you come up with dancing parrots and you're like, oh, I cannot tell this person I've got some dancing parrots coming up in my mind, go with the dancing parrots, because I promise you, it's right on the money. Prime example, I had dancing parrots come up one night in a dream, and I posted this to Kelly's page one day, and I said, I don't know who it's for, but it's for somebody on here. And I can't remember who replied, but her granddaddy had 2 parrots that danced and sang. It can be something so off the wall you think to yourself, oh, no way am I going to say that. No way am I going to say that. But promise you it is true. Never second guess spirit. Don't let your ego get in the way, and just go with all the crazy stuff that comes to your mind, because that's what spirit is going to be. And that's the best, easiest way I can describe it. It's so simple if you just don't let your ego cloud it.
You know, I actually keep feeling like the angels have a message for our viewers.
What is it?
Well, I was thinking we could all connect to our individual angels and just give the messages.
Yeah, we could.
I keep feeling like Raphael wants to give me a message for them. He loves to stick around me. I just heard light. Now I see like a 3-dimensional box. So I don't know what that means.
That means that's the pyramid. Pyramid. That's the eye that connects us all.
Something just zapped me with energy. If anybody looks back at this, they could probably see me jump.
Sorry, guys. I got a kitten back here messing around. What are you doing? What are you doing? No.
Do you have a Siamese cat, Lisa?
He is a flame point Himalayan.
Because I just saw a Siamese cat with like these very blue eyes.
Oh, hold on, I'll show him to you.
I'm sure he's beautiful with the blue eyes.
That's almost like what I saw, but it had like gray around the eyes.
Beautiful.
Oh, he looks so soft.
How does your baby, Lisa, how does your baby do with when you have spiritual contact and all that?
Okay, so, pardon me. We actually have in our household 3 German Shepherds, the kitten, and then I've got over there, I've got 2 African gray parrots and a sun conure. And every one of our animals, when they're in spirit presence, watch them. One of the dogs, our female shepherd, actually will take her frisbee and drop her frisbee in front of them. It is the funniest thing. She, for whatever reason, they like to, they goose her. Like, she'll all of a sudden turn around and go, ah! And they just like poke her in the butters. But it's funny. It's really funny to watch the animals when they see them. We live in a very wooded area, and when I sit out on my porch at night, there are just so many nature spirits and animal spirits and fairies, and even I've even caught like little troll. I don't know what they are, so I'm just going to say they're trolls.
Elves?
I don't know. Like little troll-looking men up in the trees out here. Yeah, so I've seen some pretty bizarre things recently.
Me too. We have woods all around us, and I don't know if you've seen any of it, but I record my birds, and I don't have any personal birds, but I have tons of them outside, and I record all the time. But yes, that is just my Zen zone.
Yeah. Here's something I would love to ask everybody. This is the strangest thing, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what they are. Maybe it's not, and I have asked, and asked. And my only concern really is that I'm not fearful of them at all, but I don't know if they are necessarily the best little creatures in the world. But they have a almost yellowish looking eye, and they look at me through the screen, and you can literally see, I don't know how everybody else sees spirit, but oftentimes I will see them flicker into focus and then out, and then flicker into focus and then out, not necessarily a steady third-dimensional view of them. But when they're looking at me or peeping at me through my screen, you can actually see their eyeballs move to watch me blink, and their eyes are like a light yellow in color, and I have no idea what these things are. Anybody want to take a stab at it?
Do they have cat eyes? Because I keep seeing like those
Yes.
yellow cat eyes with
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Because I keep feeling like they could be reptilian, because I know reptilians do have those kind of eyes.
Okay. I don't know what they are, but they are always there. Always. And you know, and I go through a ritual every night that I sit out there, because I sit out there on purpose to try to get photographs and stuff, because sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm able to get these interdimensional beings come through on my, you know, just on my regular cell phone camera. Anyway, I always ask that Archangel Michael come and stay on the four corners of my property and assist me, and ask my guides and my angels to assist me in keeping the home and the premise clear of any, you know, negative entities or energies or otherwise, and just anything that's there for my best and highest good only. But these guys don't go away. They just stay there. So I don't know what they are. I'm not afraid of them.
Yeah, because I just keep seeing this yellow cat eye.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, Nick.
Maybe there's some sort of watchers or just like protector type beings. I don't know.
I just heard family.
Family?
That's what I just heard.
Family. Interesting.
The next time you see them, try addressing them.
Okay.
Hang on, you guys. I got to say something to my husband. Go ahead. He wants to cook supper. I said, go ahead. Our kitchen is right behind me, so I told him to go ahead.
And that's actually really interesting, because a lot of us have been experiencing stuff with like multidimensional beings in the past few weeks. Because I know that I have, because I remember one night, it was like midnight, and I was in my parents' room watching Long Island Medium, and it was like 2 weeks ago, and I started hearing this sound, and we have like concrete behind our house, so like, and we have chairs and stuff, so I was thinking it was this chairs being pulled across the concrete, and so that made me think there was someone behind our house trying to get in. And so when I like was listening, I was just so creeped out, because I thought someone was trying to get in. And then I woke my mom up, and the second my mom like opened her eyes, the sound stopped. And I realized that there was no one outside, and so I realized it was coming from my parents' bathroom. And so when I thought back on it, it actually sounded more like this like evil laugh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like this really deep like growl/laugh.
I've heard stuff in the middle of the night before like that, and one night at the end of my bed, I had like somebody just boom tap my foot at the end of the bed, and I immediately, before thinking about it, like, and gaining my composure, knocked my husband in the side. I was like, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" And got nervous and scared about it. He sat straight up in the bed like, "What? But I really wished I hadn't have done that, because I know I've got to. That's the only part that still kind of nerves me or makes me nervous or whatever. I wished I could just, because I know I shouldn't show any fear when that happens, but I still do.
Well,
Yeah, I'll always punch him and wake him up, and I got to quit doing that.
Well, that's actually.
I think it's natural for us all to have that initial, even though we know we're not supposed to, but you know the way I feel about it, honestly, is that we chip away little by little at that fear, and the more confident we get in our own power and stepping into our own power and realizing that we really kind of have one up on these guys.
You're right.
But, you know, you can't just drop the fear all at once. I mean, I have 3 daughters that are extremely intuitive, and my one daughter is like, "Mom, they don't stop talking to me all night long, and I'm scared they're going to say something, so I try not to listen. I'm scared they're going to say something that's going to freak me out." And, you know, so she's coming over to spend the night on Tuesday night, and I said, well, let's approach this together, and when you're with somebody, it's so much easier not to be afraid. And then, you know, little by little, we'll chip away at the fear together, so.
That's right.
To me, it's like if you can have a partner with you while you're experiencing some of this stuff, it sure does make it, for me at least, it's a lot more comforting. Um, if something is going on that I haven't experienced before and I might be a little nervous, if I have my
Yeah,
husband out there or one of my girls, or yeah, so.
that's exactly right. I feel the same way about it. I just wish I could overcome that fear at night, and I don't know what it is about nighttime because I know that everything's going to be fine, but it's something different. And I wake up every single night, all through the night. I don't know about you guys, but I never get a full night's sleep, ever.
No.
But then when I get up in the morning and keep going, I'm good. And I think that that's just part of it. I don't know.
Yeah. I went to
Well,
bed at 3:30 this morning, and then my kitten had me up at 6:30 this morning. And that's so typical for me, so I can relate about not getting a good night's sleep. But then I seem to do pretty well during the day for not sleeping very much. But
Yeah,
well,
how about
that
you, Nick?
well, it's actually pretty interesting for me because I don't know if this is a side effect from turning my emotions off or something, but when I see entities, my fear, it's like a light switch. It just like turns off. And like
Yeah.
I don't feel fear when I'm like in front of them. It's like I just get startled and that's it. Because an example of this is like last summer I was at my cousin's house and I call this like the wiper because what it was doing it was like a dark entity and my aunt had just literally gone outside to clean her pool and all of a sudden the sunlight just like disappeared from the floor and I looked where the sunlight had been, and there was this like shadow entity on the floor, like just going like this with its arm, and it was like wiping out the sunlight. And like the second I saw it, my fear switched off, and I stood up and I looked at it, and in my mind I said, "You're no longer welcome here," or something. And I went and I blasted it with light like this, and it just like vanished, and it never came back.
That's awesome.
And then like the second it disappears, my like fear turns back on, and I'm like, what did I just do?
You're right.
that's good.
That is real good. But in the middle of the night, when something hits you on the leg
Mhm.
and you open your eyes and you're like, it can be kind of scary sometimes.
Mhm.
And I don't know. That's what I got to learn to, because I don't want it to be scary. I know it's not scary, but I got to learn. That's the only thing is my challenge left is that I feel like something like that in the middle of the night when it's dark and my husband's asleep and I'm wide awake and it happens.
Hmm.
Right. What about you,
Um,
Sandra?
Well, I don't really get startled anymore since my NDE. It's like those things kind of just like are just an ordinary happening for me. The only time I've gotten startled was when I was out of my body, and I and I came back in, but I didn't realize it was me because I was like curled up on my side, and I felt this being like trying to curl up inside the but behind me, trying to snuggle me. And then I realized, oh, well, that's me trying to get
Oh,
back
oh,
in.
how funny.
And once I realized it was me, I popped back out again, and I walked in my spiritual self and walked in the bathroom, and a dog that I had some, oh gosh, 12 years ago, she came in the bathroom with me and was spending time with me, and I got to pet her and stuff and was talking to her. But that's the only thing that I startled myself when I'm trying to get back in my body.
yeah,
That's
I've had that
funny.
happen where it's like, especially like when you're sleeping and you're having a lucid dream or whatever, and you come back and it's like, boom, and you come back and you wake up and you shake.
Oh, yeah, that too. You literally, your whole body's like literally vibrating, like zzz.
Yeah, and you wake up and you're like, what happened? What happened? Because it really is like a jolt. You've had that happen, haven't you, Nick? I think most of us have.
I've
Well,
never come out of my body. I
last
tried.
summer, last summer, I think Sandra knows this. It's like almost every night when I would like fall asleep, the next day I would wake up and it would feel like in my heart would be like hurting because it was beating so fast. And apparently it's because I would keep like crashing into my body or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I've never felt myself leave my body, but apparently I do. I don't know.
I don't think we actually feel ourselves leave, but I think we feel ourselves come back when we do that. When we wake up and come back like boom so hard,
Yeah.
that's when you really realize it. Because sometimes it's a jolt, big time.
Mhm.
Wow. So how long did it take all of you to um, come up out of your body? I've tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, and I just
Well, I actually
don't.
I've never astral projected. Like I've never left my body, but people tell me I have, but I don't ever feel like I did. I've
No,
tried.
I think people read too much into it. I don't know what you would call it, but I know ever since I was a kid, when you dream and you go, I don't know, wherever in the dreamland or whatever, but when you have those, and I know everybody in the world has had it, you wake up and you feel like your body jerks and it wakes you up, that's when you're like coming back to reality and waking up. And I know it
Everybody
happens
goes
to
out.
everybody.
Yeah.
I know it
Everybody.
does.
Everybody goes out. They're not aware that they're out. It's like a lot of times I'm not aware that I'm out unless I get into a place where everything is like so real. It's like it's real here, and then I know I'm out. So I don't always know I'm out until I get to a place where it's just as real as it is here, and then I start connecting in the lucid part where I can talk and communicate back and forth and do all these things. Then
Exactly.
yeah.
When you know you're out, it's like I was telling you earlier. When you know that you are dreaming, but you're like, I don't know what you call it. I don't know what the terminology is for it, but you know you're dreaming, but you are really aware of your dream.
Mhm.
You're totally aware of your dream. And you wake up and you still remember everything. But even during your dream, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it, but I think a lot of us have gone through that. I go through it all the time.
I call it just like lucidity because you're actually living in that dream like you're living in the real world. You know, it's
Yeah.
yeah, more like lucid dreaming.
And
Because
I don't
you're
think people even realize it. And I think people have it happen all the time and they don't even realize what's going on. But they
exactly
do have it.
yeah, that's true.
How about you, Nick?
What do you mean?
Do you have that happen to you when you're having a dream and you really kind of know what's going on, but you're really asleep?
Well, for me, like my dreams are always pretty clear, and so I think when the realest my dreams ever feel is when I'm having a clairvoyant dream where I'm seeing the future. And so I think that's usually where it feels the realest to me because it's usually it's like I don't see what's actually happening, but I see a representation of what's happening, so it feels real. Like for to use an example, the first clairvoyant dream I had was of a plane accident. And what happened is that I saw a father and a son on the plane, and the father was upset. And so like I saw, and then I like teleported in my dream to like an outside place. So I saw the plane kind of like coming down into like this bay area. And so then what happened next is that I saw an aerial view of the plane crashed near water. And
Mm-hmm.
so I woke up and I looked it up, and it turns out that 3 hours prior, a father and a son had died in a plane accident.
See, crazy. I have had something similar.
Hmm.
I had a dream, and I don't tell many people about this, but just a few months ago, I had a dream one night, and I don't know if it was something that has happened or was going to happen, but it was at a house, and somebody got killed, and I could see, and whoever it was that got killed was up in like the attic area, put up there, and then there was a van leaving with like 3 or 4 people in it. The door was wide open. They pulled it shut. That's the first time the sense of smell came in, and I could smell death. I could smell the smell of it. This has happened to me on 2 occasions, 2 different periods, 2 different scenarios, and it really scared me because I didn't really know how to handle it. But I do think it saw something tying into happening at a present moment or in the near future. And it's something new, so I'm not sure how to handle it yet. I don't know. Have y'all had anything like that happen?
For
I,
me, yeah, I have.
Oh, yeah.
like just a couple months ago, I had laid down to take a nap, and all of a sudden I found myself in the back of this car. This guy was driving the car, and I was in the back seat. He was speeding. It was like driving erratic, and I'm going, no, slow down, you're going to crash. And I popped out of the car, and I'm standing on the side of the road watching him speed down the road, and it's like, stop, you're going too fast. And then all of a sudden I saw the car crash into one car, and then I saw it crash into another car. So at that point I woke up, and I get on the internet. This is like an hour later, and I get on the internet, and I'm looking at the news, and all of a sudden I see this news flash about some car accident that happened on 81 where this guy was speeding in this car, and both the drivers died, and he hit 2 cars, and I saw that happen. I saw it happen, and an hour later, there it was on the news.
Wow.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Mm.
When I was about 9 years, it was either like 9 or 10 years old, I had a dream one night where, I was at my dad's, and I had a dream where this lady had been killed, and she was rolled up in this tarp, like a blue tarp, and they found her under a bridge. Well, I dreamed that, and like 2 or 3 weeks later one night, it was on the news, and I won't ever forget it, but they had found a woman in one of those drain pipe things under a bridge, not nowhere hardly from our house. And I think that even then as a kid I had seen that happen. But I didn't know if that was the one, but I don't understand why I would have dreamed that if it wasn't. And I never said anything about it, but I always felt that way,
I have dreams about people and things happening, but I never place them. So, like Nick was saying, it triggered a dream that I had when he was talking about the father and the son. I also had a dream about a father and a son, and they were at a dog park, and a Doberman Pinscher went over and bit the little boy, and that's about as much of the dream as I can remember. But I'll have dreams like that, but then I don't place them with any particular person, place, or thing. So to me, it just always seems just kind of random, although I haven't necessarily ever had dreams like that before. I have had knowings, like when my grandfather had cancer, I knew it. When my brother had a car accident, I was living in San Diego, California. I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't go back to sleep, and was waiting, till it was late enough Florida time to call my folks to see if everything was okay, and realized that he had been in a car accident that night. So those type of things, at least they were relatable, and I could see where where I was getting the energy or the visions from. But dreams, most of the time I can't place them. So I don't know if they're just random dreams, or I'm just, not doing a good job filtering stuff coming through my crown chakra.
I think they're probably things for you to know, but it's something that you have to learn, just like we do, to hone in on.
Yeah.
I really do.
And Carla,
Yeah.
you know how you were talking about like the smells and stuff with the entities?
Yes.
Have you ever noticed that like the negative entities smell horrible?
Yeah, I do. I've only picked up on the smell thing twice, and all of my clairs are open except for that totally fully. All the rest of them I feel are open, but I have smelt death before. a couple of times dreaming or whatever. I mean, it's woken me up. I know the smell of it, even though I've never smelled it in real life, besides like a animal being dead on the road or whatever. Um, and I've smelled flowers. Ironic that that's what it has been for me. But I do feel like that I have had these dreams or whatever that have been of something that will happen, and I just don't know when or where, or I would try to tell somebody. You know, that's when it gets frustrating because you don't know what's going on or who it is or where it is. I mean, it could be in another country. Who knows?
Right, exactly. So, like, a little boy's going to get bit by a Doberman Pinscher. I don't know when, I don't know where.
But that'll
So,
happen.
what do you
Yeah.
do with that?
That's how I feel.
What do you do with that kind of information?
That's how I feel. But there's no way, I don't know how to decide. That's something I got to learn to hone in on. I've
Yeah,
not
me
learned
too.
to develop that clear good yet, but it is coming in. I have all the other ones that are pretty open now, but that one.
How long have you been doing this, Carla?
Only about a year and a half. I mean, I've had it my whole life, but just learning to open up and develop it all.
Right. Yeah, me too. About a year and a half, and what I have found to be the most profound, at least recently, is the ability to see and sense spirit, um, spirit guides, angels, entities. I'm able to actually see them or see through that veil. Um, I had a difficult time communicating, except for when I was visited, when I had, a close encounter on Thursday night, and that happened 100% telepathically. I don't understand why I can't do that with loved ones, or if I ever will be able to, or I just need to continue developing and getting stronger. But there was no ifs, ands, or buts about when the aliens were in my front yard. I knew exactly what they were saying, and unlike when I'm listening to my spirit guides, because I can hone in and get what they're guiding me to do or not to do, I actually will hear my own voice in my head, but I've learned to tell the difference between what is coming to me and what is coming from me with regard to those guys. But when I am looking at a dead person, for whatever reason, I'm having real difficulties communicating. Maybe you guys know how to hone in better on that.
I think the biggest thing is like connecting to their energy signature, because we're all on different vibrational levels from each other, and so I think the biggest thing is to try to get as connected to them as you can, because a lot of times people try to connect with the spirits, but they're not on the same vibrational level. And when you're on the same vibrational level, it makes it a lot easier to like connect.
Yeah. I guess that's just going to have to be something that comes with time,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I'm sensitive to energy, and I can definitely feel differences with different entities and that kind of thing. But memorizing the differences, because they're so subtle to me still, I think is going to take some time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, I lost you.
There you are.
I had spirit interference, I think. I crashed, computer totally crashed. But anyway, I'm back. I am going to have to call it a night here for us, Nick. I
Mm-hmm.
truly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions you want to ask, or?
And we just want to thank the viewers so much for tuning in today. And we hope you guys will tune in for future videos. And
Yes.
and Carla and Sandra and Lisa, we'd love to have you back for future videos as well. And the team would love to have you all back.
We would love to.
Absolutely. And any of the viewers, if you have any questions, definitely put them in the comments so that Nick or somebody can, get those questions answered for you. So that's what this is all about. We're all learning and growing together. And thank you, Nick, for having us on. And thank you so much, Carla, for answering questions. And you too, Sandra and Nick, I appreciate it.
And also, if the question is personal and you don't want it publicly asked, you can also message Celestial Center on Facebook. We have the availability to be messaged from our Facebook page, so you guys can ask there.
Yes, and it was nice to meet everybody, and I hope you all have a beautiful evening and a great week coming up. And thank you so much, Nick, and love to do it again.
All right.
And namaste.
Yeah.
Namaste. Love and light, you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.